No, no, but it's fine because if it fits you, then it fits you. But you gotta have to tell me who they are. Are they like little Pokemon or something?
Oh no, those are squishmallows.
Oh, Squishmallows. Okay, like the ones I have my stuffed animals. All right, we are going. Okay, we are live.
Okay, I'm gonna mute this. Okay.
Yes, I had to mute mine too. So let me get us going and connected. One more step. Oh, and I just got my own notification. So we are definitely live and on. So I am Joelle,
Awesome.
and welcome to In the Cards with the Viberarian. I am here to elevate, enlighten, and empower. And I share things with you, hoping that you too will be elevated, enlightened, and empowered. On my In the Cards show, it is an opportunity to talk all things cards, tarot, oracle, decks, spreads, learning lessons, everything. And I have the opportunity to be joined by other people who are into the same thing I am. And so if you're tuning in to the chat room or if you catch this later, thanks for showing up. And we welcome your comments and any contribution that you want to make. This is a community experience. So tonight I am joined by Cieldi. Thank you for joining me. Yay! Yay. So last night I had the pleasure of interviewing Cieldi for my podcast, The Psychic Inside Show. The replay of that will be up here on the YouTube channel soon, and you can find it on any of the podcast directories on iTunes, Audible, Google Play, anywhere you can just search for The Psychic Inside, and you'll find all of the interviews that I've done. So last night we had a great conversation, and let me also tell people that the reason I know you is because I had a reading with you at the Big Blue Barn at Gloria Parker's Big Psychic Fair, which is a monthly event. I go all the time. Sometimes I'm a reader, sometimes I'm a customer. And at this particular one, several months back, you gave me an awesome reading, and Odin showed up and like a whole bunch of messages came through. So I'm super excited to be able to read with you tonight. So, like, what's your tarot thing? Like, how'd you get into tarot?
Well, do you mean like reading at the Blue Barn or just in general?
Just like, how do you like, what do you like about tarot? Like, I know we covered some of this last night in the interview, but you know, for the purpose of the community here tonight, like, what is about being in the cards that you like?
I really love using the tarot because I don't really think that, you know, like when I do a reading, it's not like the cards are like the end all be all. It's not like, you know, nothing is cemented or in stone. They're more like I like to use them all as critical thinking tools almost. And you know, I think that with using tarot cards, you can get messages from spirit, as well as, you know, using like critical thinking skills to kind of discern what exactly the message is. And you know, maybe spirit will bring up things that like maybe you weren't thinking about, and you just have to like pick up on the messages, you know. Like when you ask the universe, you know, like, please give me a sign, and then, you know, you have your deck of cards and it's like it's giving you like, you know, the Tower card,
Ace of Pentacles, or Ace of Cups. What do you want? You know?
Yeah, it's like, here you go. This is what you're using. Here we go. So,
well, and I know you said last night that you had like your first contact with tarot was when you were like 8 years old. Like, just looking. One thing I like about tarot is it talks in archetype. In the teaching of it, and there's a universal understanding to common life experiences that are distilled down to an image that is supposed to capture that regardless of your culture, creed, or age. You can understand when you see a man leaning on a hose, sweating next to his plant.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like what the Seven of Pentacles is about, taking a break. Like, so you don't have to have like whatever level your thought is at, you can encounter tarot at that space, and including getting deeply, deeply complex. As you know from Amy Catherine, you mentioned her, like
Yeah.
teaching tarot. She is a masterful wealth of knowledge about the cards, and you spent like weeks, right, in that particular class with her.
Yeah. I took Tarot 101, 102, and 103. And within those classes, I also learned that to how to interpret the cards intuitively, and not, because I spent my whole life kind of like going by the book. Like I would get intuitive thoughts and intuitive messages from them, but I would just be like, nah, I'm gonna go to the book, and the book wasn't always right. So I was talking to her about that, like when I was getting started with the classes, and she's like, oh well, you don't need the book at all, you can just look at the cards and just tell, and each card isn't going to mean the same thing to the same person.
Right.
And in addition to that, that rung true for me, because this deck, all the cards in this deck have different meanings than the cards in my other decks. Because I spent time with them, and I interview the deck, and I see what kind of messages it has for me. And it's
That's
just a different
interesting
relationship.
That's interesting that you interview your deck, because I have seen, like on Pinterest, there's a great deal of information out there for people with creating spreads. And I've tested like one in one of the episodes and that I had on this channel. It's like, let's take one and run it, right? So that was really cool. And I have the a deck interview thing pinned, but I've never really used it like that. So do you do that with all your decks when you get them? Okay.
I use spreads at first. They're really fun, because I do know what you're talking about on Pinterest. It's so fun to just go on there and like find all these like different spreads that people have created. I used interview spreads at first, but then I just would pick up a deck and I'd shuffle it and hold it, and knock the energy out, and just ask it like, what messages do you have for me? And then I just pull out 3 cards from the deck, and those would be the messages. And doing it that way has been accurate for me. But like everyone has a different way of doing tarot, and that's what also makes it great, is like there's no like right or wrong way to interpret it. I mean, unless you just have like very overtly negative, scary interpretations, I feel like that's a little bit wrong. But like,
so there's always a bright side to the tower, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, when I give people readings and the tower comes up, to me, when it comes up in the readings that I give, it just means that there's like sudden changes, and to be prepared for like, sudden shifts in energy and events. And so the card looks scarier than the event is in real life, I think.
Well, but reflective of real life, the tarot stories again talk to tragedy and endings, prosperity and lack. That's kind of why they hit so hard, because who can't like feel the 5 of Cups at like a fundamental level of dark grief and loss and mourning? You know what I mean? So it is beautiful, because tarot has been around, like the Rider-Waite version, for a couple 100 years, right? So it's had the flexibility to withstand any kind of time.
Because it's like
structure,
it's like character archetypes within the deck, like you were saying earlier. They're absolutely timeless. I really love all of the tarot decks. Are there's always been like multiple art renditions of tarot decks, but like, you know, since it's become more popular, more artists
Oh,
are like putting
yeah.
out all these decks. And like, I just really love seeing all of the artistic interpretations of all of the suits and like the major arcana cards. Some of them are really pretty. I especially love like fairy type
Okay.
tarot cards. They're just so pretty to look at.
Which deck did you pull out to share with us first? Like, I agree
Um,
with you totally.
so this is actually my main deck that I use for readings when I take this one to
Oh, yes.
the psychic. I don't know if you can
The
see it, but it's like
gilded, right?
holographic.
Yes. That's
Um,
nice.
and I have a couple oracle decks in boxes, but I did just get a new one recently. Pull it out. This one, it's called the Shadowscapes Tarot
Oh, okay.
by Stephanie. I think it's Pui Mun La. I might be mispronouncing that, but yeah, they have like fairy.
Oh,
They're
cool.
like fairy type whimsical cards.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
this is what the box looks like.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
it's kind of it's squishmallowed out.
I know.
Oh, yes, there it is. I've seen that. It is very whimsical.
Mm-hmm. And it's
Yes.
just the like all of the cup suits are like mermaids and water spirits, and I really love those kinds of interpretations as well. Um, and
Well,
that was another thing that I noticed when I'm interviewing a deck. I also kind of have to I read through the artist's notes a little bit, because when they make the cards, they make them with certain intentions. But
yes,
you know, so while they do have a personal meaning to me, I also like to take into account what the
absolutely.
artist put in as symbolism into the cards as well.
I absolutely agree. You know, the thing that I do in a lot of my readings, which I know is maybe not something you see commonly on like YouTube genre, but I do read the information that the channelers who were gifted the initial vision and message to bring to us. I honor that. You know, I read the front material. Now, there are certain decks that I have not read through everything, but I read the introduction by the artist and the author generally, so I can understand. And they have put great effort through great spiritual gift. The fact that it triggers then my own conversation individually is the bonus to, hey,
Yeah.
well, yeah, we got one of our regulars, Jessica Lynn, up in the Pacific Northwest, artist and creative and tarot lover like us. Thanks for showing up this evening. And so as I was saying that, you know, to me, it's part of the honoring. It doesn't take away from my gift in terms of the channel, but to share those things, which sometimes are so beautifully written, the guidance in the book, the illustrators really who are servicing spiritual products. You know, the Tony Carmine Salernos, the Lucy Cavendish, you know, people who
I love Lucy Cavendish.
yeah, there's signature artwork that makes you just know it's their deck, it's their work. I love that they've chosen to express their gift in this spiritual way. So I want to honor that wherever possible. Now, I don't enter like the whole decks, I don't read until I read. So there are plenty of my decks that I've never seen all the cards for. I find it overwhelming because as soon as I see a card, I'm having a spiritual conversation.
Yeah.
That would go for all 44 cards if I just went one after the other. But that's my personal, I don't do full walkthroughs, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I do find myself, if I get carried away looking in like one card after another, I will also look into the entire deck almost and keep finding more and more messages. But that's the great thing I think also about working with tarot and working with the universe, is like if you keep looking for answers, you'll keep receiving the answers that,
Yes,
that you need.
the ongoing conversation, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a never-ending conversation with the universe.
Yes.
So
Well, would you do us the start and go ahead, and then I'll share with you my decks, but like pull some tarot and see what the messages to begin bringing in for the group that's here tonight, or that will see this in the future.
Yeah, let me shuffle these up real quick. I've been shuffling them the whole time, but let me shuffle them with intention this time. We'll just see what comes up. See if anything pops out.
Oh,
There it goes. We have the Three of Pentacles.
oh, nice. Okay, that's a great card energy.
The Hermit also flipped over.
Okay.
I flipped the cards, and like, you know, whatever ones flip over, the we just got Temperance.
Okay.
And King of Pentacles.
All right.
So that's just for now, that's just like a quick 4 cards for us. So
okay, I like it. I received that.
This tells me that there's, you know, like just a work in progress. When the Three of Pentacles usually comes up for me, this is a sign that someone is working on, you know, an important project. You know, people kind of have their eye on them a little bit, but they're steadily working on, you know, it could be working on themselves, working on something that's like very important or close to them. And people are kind of taking notice, and, you know, it means that, like, you know, the work is not going unnoticed. You know, if they're worried about, you know, if they've been working on themselves and they're worried about if people have noticed or not, like, you know, it usually signals that people are starting to take notice. And then, you know, the Hermit and Temperance, those are really good major arcana cards, in my opinion, because the Hermit just, it comes up when people are introspecting, or either needing to introspect, or they're entering a phase of introspection, and the Temperance card is like for entering a phase of balance. And since these two actually flipped out next to each other, I'm going to take this as a sign that spending time by oneself, or like self-reflecting, and taking more time for introspection, and just enjoying the time that you have that's like quiet and you know, alone, will bring a nice balance. It'll regulate your emotional and mental health. That's what I take that as. And the King of Pentacles is an excellent card for someone to pull up when, you know, they're asking about their career, or their, you know, anything to do with money, really, because the King of Pentacles, you know, he's on his I'm trying to keep this
yes, on his throne.
Yeah, he's on his throne. You know, there's like, you know, lots of vegetation and fruit, and just all this the symbol of wealth and just comfort that is surrounding him. And so I think of that as a very the king suits, since it's like more masculine energy to me. It's also like that's what the person has to put out. Not only are they living in a time of comfort in their lives, or it's incoming, but they're also going to be able to kind of share that with other people. And it's going to be something that, you know, they're not just going to like know by themselves. It's something that other people are going to notice, because the masculine energy is more of like the giving energy, and the feminine suits in here are more like, you know, like receiving. Like when the Queen of Pentacles comes up, it means it usually means for me that, you know, wealth and comfort and all that is coming in, and you'll kind of be receiving it and enjoying that, and not so much like having like an outward thing that other people are going to notice offhand. So that's just that's my personal interpretation of those cards that came out. Do you find that you have similar interpretations of those cards, or do they speak differently to you?
When okay, what you spoke to me, but I also like, okay, the download or the way that, okay, this was so, in the Three of Pentacles, we have the balanced partnership with the overseer, and then the partnership of the components that make a project work successfully together to bring something into the material manifested realm. So when we move into the inner sourcing of the divine wisdom light, therein our divine connection is able to then move into the temperance flow of bringing the intuitive and inner wisdom seated, or feminine, really, the hermit in the feminine position, that is connected, that brings down then into the manifested realm those thoughts, ideas, and things, as above, so below. So therefore, the King of Pentacles is abundantly provisioned. And because of that initial partnership structure that included the inner.
The inner work.
Yeah, the inner, stepping apart to seek the inner guidance of the divine light is necessary in order to even have the connection to bring the as above into the below, which the temperance shows us the, standing in the waters, receiving the currency of the divine light, which starts in the hermit's illuminated wand as he's gone within, right?
Yeah, you're saying it starts from within.
Yes, like the rightly aligned partnership that the Three of Pentacles provides opportunity. I also see, like, so this evening is a beautiful example of a collaborative partnership with Three of Pentacles, whereby we're going within and seeking our inner guidance in relationship to these cards. And then we're bringing that information out with thoughtfulness. And the manifestation of that is that we will have given information from spirit to whoever, and it is going to be abundantly spread and placed in those who are meant to hear it.
Yes.
Like, so the message, like, your message was right on point as well, because I can relate it certainly to things that are happening in my professional career. Like, yes, things being seen and knowing that value is being, so both ways.
Your value is like shining through, all the work that you've been putting in is like shining outward. And with the people, I think I like the symbolism, because you see the two people like watching the guy steadily working, and it's like, that's what I imagine, people taking notice. They're like, hey, look at that guy, look what he's doing.
Right, absolutely. So I like that. I love that. See, that's, again, it's like astrology. Like, again, how you live your energy of your sign is very individualized, but so similar in the resonant energy behind it. So you Libra your way, I Libra my way, but we hit the same energy at some point. Same thing with the tarot.
Yeah.
Now, you said you like mermaids, so I must have been, Spirit must have given me a message, because I pulled out my Dame Darcy Mermaid Tarot to use this evening, but mostly because of our water connections with our similar things. You talked about how artists, like, this is an actual artist deck. She's down in Savannah, Dame Darcy. Each one of the cards in here was a print that she made. And this deck is huge. It is so thick. It's gilded on the edge. The artwork is awesome. This is her little card, Dame Darcy.
Oh, that's beautiful.
She has an Alice in Wonderland themed deck too.
Oh, nice.
is really nice if you're into the whole Mad Hatter and all those references.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to get 2 cards from this deck to see what the next layer of the message from Spirit wants to be. And I am not a shuffler energy.
No.
I'm a, cut, shuffle, draw, or fan kind of person.
Yeah.
And I always tell people there is no wrong way. What you're doing is assuring yourself through a ritualized practice that it's a trusted act. And that's just something we as humans kind of need. It helps us. Well, I shuffled right. I cut the cards right. Now I can trust the message. At some point, we can release ourselves from our little lucky,
Yeah. Throw salt over the shoulder,
yeah, our little things, ritualized practices that we believe will bring us bad luck if we didn't cut the cards right.
Yeah.
People should be free. So
Yeah, I recently learned how to kind of shuffle them. I used to do the somebody called it the washing machine, where you just spread them all out and you just mash them all up. I used to do that because I couldn't shuffle them, where you
ban,
do that thing. I don't know what to call it, but the fancy people can do that thing where they split the deck and they do that thing, and then
Vegas deals.
I don't even know what it's called, but it's fancy and I can't do it.
These cards are really too big to be able to, do that quickly, but I think I got us where we need to be. Oh, I love it. Oh,
What'd you get?
All right, the first one is strength.
Love it.
I love this card, right? So we have, again,
beautiful.
So the feminine and the strength is about the quietness of the interaction. It is not aggression or conquering energy. It's just what taming, like catch more flies with honey than you do vinegar, kind of a sweet resolution and resolve of strength, because it takes courage to be in the proximity of something as unknown as a lion, right? So
yeah. I've always loved the symbolism of the strength card as well, because like you were saying, it's like it's taming, really. It's not really like overcoming, or it's not dominating. She's most of the symbolism and pictures of the strength card, the woman is just holding the lion's head, it's nothing. There's no weapons or anything, and she's even in the mermaid rendition,
he's got his mouth open, he's not in any aggression.
And she's got her hand kind of cupped, like like petting him, kind of.
Right. And in this one, she's on his back. I think like the Thoth Tarot, she is on the strength image, but in the Rider-Waite, I think she's standing. Is she standing beside the lion?
She's standing beside the lion, and she's kind of got her mouth. In some of the renditions of the Rider-Waite, like the other interpretations that are still kind of traditional, it kind of looks like she's prying the jaws open.
Yes.
But I think in the traditional Rider-Waite, she actually just has her hands resting on the lion. If I find it in here, I'll pull it out and hold it up, because I think the ones I have might be traditional, but we'll see if it comes up later.
We have somebody in the chat who wants to know if we're going to read for viewers. Yes, we are. I'm going to just do this second message here related to the conversation that Spirit's having with us. And while I do that, if you question in the chat, we'll get to it on the next section, right? So okay, so what were you getting when you saw this particular energy?
So for that card, the mermaid symbolizes to me, it's always symbolized something mysterious and like a person or individual who is in their depths and who can kind of move throughout the depths and kind of handle, you know, crushing pressure. Because when I imagine like mermaids and sea creatures, I imagine, these creatures who can swim under like, so many miles of pressure and water. And so I think that to me, that's telling me that it's like strength under pressure or to endure, but not that not to seek it out.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because a lot of people, if they grow up having to be strong, or maybe they learned that, like, you can't be strong without having pain, or without having a lot of stuff on your plate at one time. Just because you can be strong doesn't mean that you have to be. Because the strength card also, I know in the traditional Rider-Waite, there's an infinity sign above her head, and that whenever I see that, it's like, forever. It's something that has always been, will always be. And so it's like innately in us. It's not given to us through our hardships. It's not, and it can't be taken from us if we find that we need to take a rest or something like that. Because strength is also, it's being able to handle pressure, and it's also having the strength to rest when you need to, and knowing when you're carrying too much. And that's the message that I get from it.
Yeah, and that's a huge important lesson. Yes, I received that. You say you got to know when to hold them and know when to fold.
Yeah.
What's
Exactly.
interesting, and in the temperance card, is the same limnus symbol, or infinity symbol, right? From the cup to the hand, cup to cup. And they didn't include that in this version, but guess what? The second card that we got.
Oh, you got temperance too?
Temperance, which is so interesting because I'm born 14th. So the temperance card always speaks to me.
You were born when?
On the 14th of October. So the temperance card always speaks to me as a number synchronicity. And so to have it come up again twice, and this is double major arcana, right? So we have the Hermit, Temperance, and then strong King of Pentacles. And then we have
Three of Pentacles as well.
Yeah. So, and collaboration. And so then here we have this affirming energy saying we have strength to be balanced, to bring in the divine into the manifested realm. That's how I'm receiving that, right?
Yeah.
Like this is
also,
the feminine masculine, like this is the balance, non-patriarchal, non-uber feminine. It's strength and balance, emotionality, strength to say yes and no. It's the evenness of polarity. And so the temperance is there.
I was just going to say, another symbol that I love about the temperance card, even in the mermaid card you have, it's like you can't tell which cup is pouring into which. They're kind of just pouring into each other. And so, like you were saying, it's like balancing out, like, you pouring into yourself, and learning when to pour into yourself and pour into others, and finding people who also will pour into your cup as much as you pour into theirs, and and as well with that, as well as like activities too, like finding a job or a hobby that you pour passion into, and you get something from it, and it fills your cup as you fill it.
Yes.
I like that symbol.
Our passions derive from like what our gift has been from Creator that brings us joy and love. So of course, to recirculate that, on through is like a perfect transaction, a perfect energy exchange.
A perfect balance. And the temperance card, on the traditional one, they also have like 1 foot in the water and 1 foot on land, and I love that as a symbol of balance as well.
Yes,
I really love seeing that.
I totally agree. All right, so our first question, O'Hara says, I'm struggling with the situation in graduate school where I feel hopeless and misunderstood. It's been difficult to process for me. Can I get some insight on what I need to do? So, Cieldi, I'll let you go ahead and start and draw some cards and guidance, and I'll come in as well. And we have another person, Diana, please go ahead and drop your question as well. So thank you, O'Hara.
Okay, for O'Hara.
Yes.
Let's see. Okay. I won't do the random card flipping. I'm just going to cut the deck and see that way so I can get a more direct answer.
What I'm going to do actually is mix it up. I'm going to draw from the Sacred Sea Oracle. So you'll do tarot, and then I'll pull an oracle card for each question. So yes, I was going to show you this, the Sacred Sea Oracle again, because we're water priestesses and water ladies. So okay, so to grad school, yes.
So for O'Hara, I have the Page of Swords, and so the Page of Swords usually comes up when there's a need for an action to be taken. It's usually the swords are matters of the mind. Like when I think of it, it's more like the logical mind. So I'm thinking this might symbolize some sort of action that maybe she's been sitting on that needs to be taken, and kind of not there's some kind of like hesitation that's been taken. And then I also pulled up
I'm getting throat shock.
And
Cieldi, I'm getting like the throat chakra, like, so maybe it's a speaking up issue.
I think so, because the Nine of Cups, usually when this comes up in this deck, let me try and blur my background. So I miss the squishmallows. I love them, but God help them. So this usually comes up when someone is refusing to acknowledge some type of feeling that they're having. So it's like you were saying, it's a refusal. When you were saying about the throat chakra, like not speaking up, not it could also be not acknowledging the need to release those emotions that are because I know that like when I feel something and I don't say it, I feel it like right here.
That's where
when I don't journal about it or anything, it'll well up right here.
You mentioned journaling because it went away as soon as I said that, but it was like I couldn't clear it when it physically, and that's where it is. It's kind of back behind my Adam's apple. I forgot you mentioned journaling as in your interview last night. So like maybe if it's a difficult politically tense type environment like graduate school and workplace, journaling through it might be more effective than speaking directly to it.
Yeah. I have a feeling I feel like journaling might be more effective to like get the I don't know what to call it, like the, you know, the heebie-jeebies you get when you can't, you feel like you have a lot to say, but you don't know how to articulate it, and you can kind of journal it down and then think about what to say if you need to speak up to somebody, you know, or say if you have something to say to someone and it's important, or you know, you have something to be known. It's a lot easier to recognize that, like you were saying, like, you know, once you journal it, you can kind of like, you clear it out and you can like see it in the physical world almost, and kind of articulate it that way. And if you need to speak out like literally, then it becomes easier, and it makes the process a lot easier as well. I also pulled the 8 of Cups. So I got the 9 of Cups, and I also pulled the 8 of Cups.
Okay.
As well. So it's a need also to recognize what emotions are needed to be left behind, or kind of things that aren't helping you, because just figuratively speaking, like, you know, when we fill our cups up with a bunch of stuff, you know, we can't make room for other things to fill up our cup if we always are carrying around these, you know, things that might not be as helpful to us. So the 8 of Cups comes up when a person needs to kind of like discern, you know, what things they need to leave behind and what things are really important to them. So in relation to like these cards showing up together, they're still blurred.
Yeah, 8 and
9. You know, I see sitting on emotions is really what I'm seeing. Sitting on emotions and kind of not really, or sitting on feelings about certain subjects, and really needing to find movement and get movement into those feelings, and really kind of dig into there in it with a new perspective. Because you know, figuratively speaking, you leave stagnant water in a cup for too long, it grows things, you know. So I think the Page of Swords is needing to come in here with some kind of new way or angle of dealing with, if these will stop blurring, a new angle of dealing with unrecognized emotion, and figuring out how to leave behind the things that no longer serve us. And I also got the Knight of Cups that came up.
Okay.
I'm trying.
Marathon.
You know, the Knight of Cups comes up when there's like, you know, and I see this as like a journey also, because you know, you have the 8 of Cups, the person sitting, the 9 of Cups, the person is sitting, the 8 of Cups, the person is walking away from them, and then you have the Knight on top of the horse with the 1 cup, and there's 1 cup missing from the stack. So I'm seeing this as a story, like how you were saying earlier, how tarot is like a journey and a story, and this is telling me a story right now. It's the needing to find definitely what feelings to leave behind that will allow the person to continue their journey. And we also got the 10 of Pentacles as well. So
I would love to just interject, because what I got
sorry.
download right just now when you were talking, she says she feels misunderstood, right, in the place where she's at. So there's a fundamental feeling basis that your like work with the law of attraction and manifestation. Okay, so if we sit in the new strategy, which says the community of people who will truly foster my educational goals so that I can be the best, whatever I'm studying to be, so that I can be of best service, those people and situations and circumstances vibrate to me I know they're there because those are those other two cups that are missing from my 8 of Cups. So
Yeah.
rather than trying to resolve the tension I have here through people, let me use a communication tool and work through LOA, law of attraction, manifestation, vibrate the opposite dynamic that I'm experiencing, because spirit needs me to be educated and armed with all the things that were going to help me be the best thing that I dreamed of being in my heart. And if the traditional education is turning out to not be the avenue to do what I thought that I wanted to do, then help me to have the strength and the confidence of self to walk away from that and to find the vibrational resonance where it is, rather than trying to make it fit a dynamic where maybe it's just not going to be present.
Yeah.
That's what I got that, like, just as you were talking about everything. So, like, in terms of using the law of attraction to resolve the feeling of the unpleasant feeling that she's currently experiencing, like, what would you say for that?
I would say really focusing on since I'm sensing a lot of stagnancy and a lot of the phrase going in circles and stagnancy are just kind of sitting in my mind right now. So as far as a law of attraction goes, I would affirmation maybe coming up with affirmations and new internal dialogue that affirm that something like, I come up with solutions for my problems every day. Every day I come up with new solutions for my problems. My problems resolve themselves through new solutions that I find. Those are just a couple things that I remember, right? Because I have a list of affirmations. I typed it up on my computer, but I write them down physically in a journal every day, or every other day. I try not to go too long without doing it at least every other day. But just things that very affirming things. I always tell people, like, if they're interested in the law of attraction or creating affirmations that will bring in new energy, not to use phrases like I don't get stuck on my problems, because the universe doesn't hear don't. The universe hears I get stuck on my problems. So positive notions, positive things like I solve my problems quickly. I feel like I can speak my mind and also be confident. People like it when I speak my mind. I'm comfortable saying what I need to say when I need to say it. And sometimes people can have an issue with that, because they're just like, well, just because I say that doesn't mean it's true. And it's like, it does if you make it true. Like if you affirm that to yourself, you're not just saying, you can't just say it, you have to like feel it. You have to change your inner dialogue.
That's the Knight of Cups, right? The Knight of Cups brings in energy that has an emotional or water to it. And sometimes it's like, of course, in this case, it's not an apologetic energy, but it does take strength to come forward in an emotionally vulnerable or honest way to people. And to be willing to offer something like that confidently in the world, you have to really be strong in yourself. So those law of attraction statements that reinforce that I do this. The grand I.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Not the ego I, but the grand I, right?
Yeah, because really you're really, when you repeat affirmations, you're really changing your subconscious voice that speaks to you when you're asleep, I think, or like when you think that you're not having like not like not having conscious thoughts, but like if you have like a negative voice running in the back of your head in your subconscious, like, you know, you might not even know that it's there affecting the conscious decisions that you're making. So
Right.
it's
It works with
very
the
important
coding.
to not just repeat them, but like believe them and like feel them as well, and really believe, you know, that you know, I am confident when I speak. I am confident in saying what I need. I'm
Mhm,
confident in telling people what I need.
mhm,
And really feeling that is what's important,
mhm,
is what I'm seeing. And with the 10 of Pentacles coming in for abundance, it's, you know, this is a great card to have just all around, not just for like, you know, earthly tangible things, but you know, the symbolism in here, you have the vegetation, the family, the animals, the children. It's just all around, you know, it doesn't always literally mean all of those things, but you know, it means you know, tangible abundance, tangible better times,
mhm.
tangible prosperity, and progress is what it says to me.
That's a great little package right there. And I mean, moving the stagnant waters, moving forward, working on the inner self again to get that balance. We're back to the tarot cards we drew at the beginning.
Yeah.
Well, I want to go ahead and get this sea oracle, and then we have the question from Diana. I'll have to scroll back up a little bit. Thank you for commenting and everyone for being here. This is you know, just beautiful guidance, and it's not just for you. It's like I receive the messages as we're talking about, like what do you do when you don't feel, what is that here, Nina Simone, don't let me be misunderstood. Most of us just really want to like contribute in a
Yeah.
meaningful way, because we have confidence in ourselves and we know what we know, and we're just looking for a place to like be great. So when you're
Yeah.
not, okay, like what do you do? The story happens, we grow, we move on, or we don't, or you know, but we follow that inner light and calling. So
Yeah. And I just want to add also, when you were saying that, like, you know, the theme is transcending through us as well. Amy also told me when she was teaching me how to read for strangers, um, she was saying that if you pay attention as you read for people throughout the day, you'll find that there's a repeating theme and a repeating pattern oftentimes. And she says that part of the reading is for the reader as well.
yes, always. I'm just typing if Har says we're gonna do my affirmations while listening to Nina. Okay, yes. And I said pick a number between 1, 2, and 3, and that's going to be your oracle card. Give it just a few seconds here to catch up from the lag.
Yeah, I know. I was like, I look over to the YouTube because I have my big monitor here, and then I have my little laptop here. And I look over every now and then, and there's like a lag, and I'm like, I'm not looking where I am here. It's weird to see.
It is interesting. Okay, she said 3. Here we go. Ooh,
And
this,
Diana had a question too. Didn't
yes.
she?
Yes, she did.
What is
Shark Spirit is 33. We started out with the 3 of Pentacles. Make sure you go back after this is over to catch up with our conversation about the 3 and what we had going on here. But we got the master number 33. This is
Mhm.
the Sacred Sea Oracle, and it says clearer perspective. Okay,
Page of
so
Swords?
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. Page of Swords that cuts through the chatter so you could have clear communication and clear mental awareness, right? So, what does this say here? The affirmation. Okay, you got to get ready for this. We're going to have to give you the timestamp. I don't know how long we've been streaming, but you'll want to repeat this. Let me see if I could get there. Oh, okay. Here we are. Okay.
Okay.
So
I did Diana already post her question in the chat? I don't see it
she
anywhere.
did. It's up there a little bit higher. It's about her job. Continue working towards her business.
Okay, there it is.
Yes, it
I
just
should continue working towards my business, or I should interrupt and get a job.
so the affirmation for Shark Spirit here is I am open to seeing my fears in a new light.
Ooh.
As I may have perceived my reality in a way that hasn't been serving me. I am letting go so I can experience a new opportunity filled with love, joy, friendship, and peace. Who knows what is possible when I alter my perspective? That is on page 111, okay? And it says that how exciting that the shark spirit has surfaced for you. The sacred shark spirit is one of the most misunderstood fish in the sacred sea. This epic being of strength, power, and force has a majestic message for you. What you think you may be seeing may not actually be real. Contemplate aspects of your life that appear to be filling you with fear and use the sacred sea ritual to dive deeper into this introspective self-discovery. You may be shocked by what you uncover. Are they really truths or are they actually self-made or society-based myths? Sharks are kind, docile, peaceful creatures that are ready for you to see them as such. Even being able to shift your fears around the actual shark spirit essence can transmute eons of misguided fear and suffering within your own personal life, along with the collective consciousness. What fears can you face to make your reality a more peaceful place? Oh, that's a deep question. Okay, this is the sacred sea ritual. Take a moment to meditate on the energy of the shark, honoring all of your preconceived ideas, experiences, and feelings about them. Question whether they are truths or myths or manifestations of fears, misused power, and horror. Breathe deeply and see this within yourself. Are you willing to change the fabric of your reality by changing the way you think and perceive it? Are you willing to release these notions to allow for a new perspective and experience? Do you want to be freed from fear and make room for joy and happiness? What do you get to realize, let go of, and burn up in order to make room for infinite possibilities of grace, ease, and joy into your life? These answers can be as potent and powerful as the shark spirit itself. Welcome to this new perspective, as you never know what magical opportunity awaits you on the other side. Wow.
Wow.
Right. That is great.
That is I mean, that is like right on theme though. It's right on point.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know what? I'm seeing that scene in what's the little movie with the fishy fish, where like they're trying to tell the shark, fish are our friends, not food.
Oh,
Like
Finding Nemo.
yeah, they're trying to like rehabilitate the shark. And they're trying, they're like in this archetype, like we're supposed to be the tough bad guys, and we're really lovable glutes, right? That whole kind of misperceived under the surface you mentioned about the mermaids, what's on, and uncovering the truth. So this is beautiful, beautiful, very powerful, definitely relevant. I love it. Okay, so we're going to clear the decks, and Diana, thank you so much for letting us read for you. We appreciate the opportunity to connect with you for the spiritual guidance. Okay, so, all right. So Diana said, let me make sure I have it. I'm wondering if I should continue working towards my business or if I should interrupt and get a job. Struggling financially right now. Thank you so much. Okay. Woo, that's the constant question. So, you ready for your tarot?
Okay, so I pulled I pulled the cards already. So what came up was the first card to come up was the moon, and I'll try to keep it from blurring. Sorry, I would keep my background unblurred, but my office is a mess right now. So
Hey, be
um
comfortable.
so the moon is like an unknown. It usually comes up when the journey is unknown. It's someone coming out of their element, because I see like the little lobster or the crayfish, whatever that is. It has to pass through these barking dogs and the sentinel towers, and it's coming from the water onto the land, which is not its element. So it's going on an unknown type of journey. And so when this comes up in my readings, it symbolizes an unknown path being taken, like it's a new kind of journey, but the what's ahead is unknown. It looks kind of the card symbolism looks like it can be a little bit intimidating or scary. But I think that just it's symbolic of the fear of the unknown. What we don't know is always scarier than what we do know. So in context of quitting a job and trying to find something else, it's, if someone hasn't just up and quit their job before from a place of comfort, it might be a little bit daunting. It might feel like, coming out of your element and coming out of a place of, where you're not happy, but, you're comfortable and you've settled down. And,
well, I was going to interject to say that she's coming from having her own business and facing possibly letting it be on pause, which to go back into the construct of a job. So it's still a leap, either way, it's a leap in, it's a leap out. But like the emotional attachment to, like, the moon deals with your emotions as well. And to have something that is your baby, if you're an entrepreneur, that's a different, there's more of an emotional connection to our own business than there is to working for other people's business as well. And how am I going to feel? Am I going to feel all right about this? Like, that's the unknown fear part about, am I going to feel okay next week, or I'm going to wish I didn't do this? Right.
And that, I think that's also a part of the symbolism on the card as well, because the little crayfish is still half in the water and half out. So when I see this is like, it's the unknown. It's it's being because the water symbolizes our emotions and our feelings and all of that connected with the moon, but it's also halfway onto land too. So it's at that place between rational and rational thought and emotional attachment to something. And that can be, I understand how that can be really tough for someone that's in between being a full entrepreneur and still working for someone else, because it's like it's scary. I wouldn't count myself as a full entrepreneur, but like just reading for people is something that I'm trying to get into, and I recognize that feeling of do I continue to try and get employed somewhere, or do I jump in to this new element and see where the journey takes me? So, but the second card that came up was the Four of Wands. So to me, when this comes up, it's a card of celebration and kind of like a festivities. So I would take that as a good sign, because the other two cards that came up were actually the Death card and the Six of Swords. So, an ending of a natural cycle and moving on. So to me, with the Four of Wands in play, I think that I think that taking a leap and investing more in her personal business would be a good move.
Right.
Because the Death card usually comes up when it's a natural end for a cycle. It's nothing that's not meant to end. It's nothing that's going to be terrible. It's just the natural closing out of a finished cycle. And it's really fantastic, actually, that the Six of Swords came right after, because it's like, the cycle ends and then you get to move on.
Yeah.
And the card kind of literally, like if you literally interpret the image, it kind of looks a little bit solemn. But I think that with the Four of Wands in play, it looks very celebratory, very festive to me. So and the wands symbolize, the element of the wands is fire, and that's like, your creativity, ideas, all of the passion that's within us. That's what that symbolizes to me. So I feel like it would be a good move, a really good move to invest in her business. And the Knight of Swords also came up as well. So this is a lot of fast moving energy, a lot of fast moving thoughts, and a lot of putting thoughts into action and putting intuition into action, because I feel like the Four of Wands here is really like a celebration of new ideas coming in. If she's finding that she intuitively wants to invest more in her business, I would say go for it, because there's going to be new creative energy coming in, and a lot of movement and abundance coming in. Especially, we're coming into summertime officially. The summer solstice is coming up. So to me, that's symbolic that as soon as summer comes up, it's gonna start going into full swing, taking action and kind of not just allowing the cycle to close and leaving it, but also taking initiative and taking action towards that as well. I talk a lot, so if you want to interject,
you're bringing in your message, right? In terms of the moon, I'm going to embody the crone energy, which is of the experience of my years. I'm 51 now. As an entrepreneur twice now, I had two different experiences of that in and out relationship. So the first go round, it was big risk walking away from good government job to start my business. My marriage wound up being sacrificed in that dynamic, which it would have been anyway, but I didn't know when I started that journey into entrepreneurship that it would be a stressor that would contribute to it. When I launched my business, it was a lot harder to make it sustainable with the billing and all the differences. It just was really a hard struggle. I worked for like 3 years, really hard, and I believed it. But I did so well at my job that one of my clients came and then offered me an in-house position. On the day that they got the position, they were so excited because they had worked in the budget, like to get this permanent position, but I saw it as a failure of my business. And so after they were yipping and congratulating me, I went in the bathroom and I boo-hooed because I experienced it as a failure of my dream. Little did I know that had I continued on that other contracting through my own business, when the recession of 2008 hit, my contracts would have been cut. Like 2 years, not like 2 years later, I wouldn't even had any contracts. And I told the people who hired me when I went in, I said, well, I'm only going to give you 2 years because I really want to be a business owner. I can come in-house. Famous last words, I wound up being in-house for 8 years.
Oh,
But
wow.
the time that I got there was some of the most thriving and joyful when I let myself relax because my root chakra was taken care of. I got to do some things and augment my skills in a way that I didn't associate with supposedly the negative experience of going back in corporate chains. I was like really at that kind of thing. So I experienced through the 8-year arc then the ability, I was able to manifest enough wealth then that I could see my dream differently when I exited the next time. So when I exited the next time, I might have gone to Mexico, right? So but that Four of Wands, I had that Four of Wands, and the Four of Wands is a happy place to be, but it's not your 10 of Pentacles permanent place. But it is fun and good times and positive energy. I got that, even though I had experienced it so sorrowfully in the way that it happened. Thankfully, I refined my perspective. And then in 2000, when I went to Mexico and came back, I was ready to launch a new business again. This time I had my game face together because my guides were like, okay, pave your roads and let us decide where the traffic comes from, meaning pave your roads. If you want to see clients, get a booking system in place so you can see clients. If you want to get a resume together so you can do your old 3D, get your resume together, but help us to help you. And then we'll decide which avenue your root chakra support comes from to free you to do your passionate purpose, which is really the foundation of your business. So my whole experience of seeing it as like, oh, this is a failure of my dream, to seeing, okay, they can coexist in a way that makes sense for my life and my happy meter. So, viewing it, maybe it is an ending of sorts, but maybe it's not the ending that you think it's going to be. And it's necessary for you to acquire some skills while you have the root chakra stability that will then flourish your business later at a future time,
Yeah. And, when you were saying like, it came in at the perfect time for you, like, you were saying you're like, oh, well, I only want to be here for 2 years, but then you ended up being there for longer because of the recession. And, you're saying you wouldn't have gotten contracts anyway. It's almost like, the universe was kind of just like sheltering you from the rain a little bit until the sun was out again. And whenever the Four of Wands comes up, it always, I think of solstice and equinox celebrations like Beltane, and the summer solstice, and Litha. And so to me, this is also a seasonal card as well. It's like, it's the season for changes, the season to be celebrating these shifts in, these shifts in ideas, shifts in actions that you want to take. And like, it's a new season coming in. And especially like, with the Death card and the Six of Swords, it's like movement, seasons, but like, in a natural way. It's nothing, it's no change that isn't natural or supposed to happen. Like you were saying, it saved you. You said that you saw it as like a failure, but it wasn't a failure. The universe was just protecting you for that moment so that you could continue on at a later time.
Yes. And the thing that I always learn about the Six of Swords is that back in the 90s, when I was entering the job market, if you wanted a federal job, you had to do your KSAs, your knowledge, skills, and abilities. And people would pay federal resume writers $400 or $500 to take your experience to get your KSAs in order so that your federal application would get through at that point in time, a very basic computerized system. But it was always a challenge because you had to like convert what was it you did, like what was the knowledge, right? Skill, ability. Well, nothing is ever lost that we acquire. And in the Six of Swords cards, it's the things of the mind that are the six swords that are in there. She's not even looking at the six swords. They're contained in the boat with her. And the divine is carrying her forward. So we never lose anything gained. Once it's acquired through our experiential awareness, it's part of us. We don't lose. We don't lose anything. It's been integrated. So to always trust that I got everything that I could and needed, and things that I don't even know yet, I got and will get from whatever I choose to do. And the other thing is there really is no wrong choice. Like we can experience whatever we want. And spirit doesn't judge us. It's us that judge it, whether it was a failure or a success. The soul grows either way, whether you're an entrepreneur or an employee.
Yeah, and you know, like you just said, you know, the universe doesn't really judge us or anything like that. You know, we judge our experiences, and like even if we feel like we didn't make the right choice, the universe always knows how to get us back to where we want to be from, like no matter where we came from.
Yeah, and that boat, right? That six in the boat, it'll carry us where,
it'll carry you where you need to be. And like, you know, I resonate with that. Because I came back, you know, I didn't think that I was gonna go to college ever. No one ever talked to me about college. I had no idea what a GPA was until I was like a senior. And it was like I graduated with like you know, not so great GPA, and everyone's like, oh well, you know, there's plenty of cashiering jobs, right? And I'm like, you know, I guess so. You know, I spent time in retail, and you know, because people had always said, you know, hey, you know, college just isn't for you. College isn't your thing. And so, you know, I internalized that, and you know, I was just like, you know, I took retail job after retail job, and then I found like manual labor jobs because I was just going nuts, not having something to do with my hands, or you know, be moving around somewhere. So I did manual labor for a while, and that became exhausting. And it was like, you know, I finally came back to looking at colleges, and like I was looking into all the, you know, the stuff, and it just came in right at the perfect time, because I didn't know that you could go to college even if you didn't do well in high school. I thought like, oh well, you know, I didn't do well in high school and I graduated with like a low GPA. I'm just going to go and do whatever. You know, I'm never going to be there. But you know, the universe put all of this stuff in my way so that, you know, they don't even look at my high school transcripts. They didn't even look at them when I got into college, you know, a few years ago. When I started several years ago, they didn't even look. They, you know, I just went in and took a test, and the universe was there putting these things in my way and giving me this information, you know, because I saw an ad for the college that I go to, and I was like, you know what, let me check it out. And then me checking it out led to, you know, calling the admin and calling, you know, one of the advisors, and you know, one thing led to another, and I'm back in college and I'm getting an engineering degree. But you know, my GPA is much better now. And you know, it's
like your thoughts though, like the thoughts that you were carrying with you that had been placed into your belief system, those things were coming with you from job to job to job as well. So that whole audit about clearing the stagnant waters, right? Out, so that you can have the rightly aligned thoughts to manifest from, right? now you're like, oh, my beliefs have changed and my whole reality will flow differently now that my beliefs have changed and I'm doing things I never thought I could do before. So I think the same thing of like, okay, relax the beliefs about what it means to change from one way of earning income to the other in order to have a more pleasant experience of it.
Mm-hmm. And it back to what you said about really realizing that like the journey that the universe took you on, even though you were a little worried at first, like it ended up being a blessing overall for you. And I just really think that's beautiful how things work out if you really like I don't want to say keep the faith, because that's I don't know if that's like a religious term, but like just having an overall faith in the universe and that things are going to work out and that you're not going to be left behind is important as well.
In 2005, I wasn't reading tarot. I might have been getting readings, but like my experience of my connection to my divine self was at a lower frequency. So my experience of fear and lack was different as well. And so the cycle now, each turn goes higher and higher.
Mm-hmm.
I encountered the same dynamic. It still had some bumps, but and I'm sure that I will also then, because we're meant to like find the balance between, right? And we're not to put a period at the end of the sentence, because maybe we'll have 10 years as an entrepreneur and then we'll have 10 years as an employee and it will work for us.
Yeah, it'll still give you the same thing that you want.
Yeah, time is so different and there's so much opportunity to do things. The whole goal is to do something you love with the people who love you doing it for them and to get and abundantly supported in that dynamic is what we all hope for.
Yes.
So, let's see that oracle guidance.
Oh yeah, let's get her oracle card.
Continue.
If I'm ever talking too much, you can just stop me.
No, it's all spiritual guidance and information, and that's what we are here for. She said pile number 2. So here we go. Unconditional love and truth. Oh, botanical seed temple. Blooming opportunities. Okay, for that springtime you were talking about, seasonal.
There it is. Botanical Sea Temple. There it is. Blooming. What does it say? Blooming opportunities.
Yes. And this is number 9. Wow, this card is so vibrant. I just can't even. Oh yeah, I can't even. Yeah, you got the maypoles there with the sprigs and the 4 of wands.
I can see the colors. I think the light is just reflecting off of it, but I can see all the colors. It's like a whole rainbow of colors.
Yeah, this card is very vibrant.
I love that.
It almost even looks like, okay, this is after 9. It looks like a womb.
A little bit.
A portal for sure. Okay, blooming botanical seed temple, number 9, blooming opportunities. Let's see what we have here. This is the affirmation. Here we go. I am so excited to discover and create new opportunities and synchronistic experiences in my life. I am open to trying fresh things and watching them bloom before my eyes. My life is alive with wonder and magic. And that is on page 31. Okay. The Botanical Seed Temple is the majestic home to all of the marine fauna on the planet. All the seeds from all time are kept safe here. It is also the dream creation space for new types of marine and plant life, land plant life to sprout and bloom for the very first time. Once it is cultivated here, it will begin to grow in the most appropriate parts of Earth. This is a sacred place you can visit in your visualizations as a place of refuge, healing, and inspiration. Perform the following sacred sea ritual to access this portal to this extraordinary sea temple. That's beautiful. That's that as above, so below. Once it's cultivated here within that hermit sacred light, then it can manifest out. And you also mentioned the crab, like emerging, new life, emerging into a new form from what it was previously as an aquatic animal.
Coming out of its element.
Yes. Okay, so the ritual says, are you experiencing a feeling of soul depletion and want to reactivate a sense of wonder, enchantment, and inspiration into your spirit? This is the perfect time to energetically visit the botanical sea temple. To gain access, you must be sitting in a very comfortable position. Allow yourself to gaze upon the card as it takes you deeper and deeper into the temple. Your intention and visualization power are all you need. You now have access to the entire botanical sea temple. Run around and play in any space or direction you feel inspired to. Notice everything around you and invent any kind of plant, flower, tree, fruit, or food you would like to see grow. Visualize yourself holding the plant and watching it bloom before your eyes. As you touch this sacred creation, visualize an aspect in your life you would like to see grow and bloom. What would you like this to be like? What would this be like? Can you imagine the powerful aroma your new creation in the world will have? Can you smell, feel, and know the essence of your creation? Allow yourself to delve deep within to find the seeds you wish to cultivate in your life and let the botanical seed temple empower the fullness of your fresh, wild bloom into the world. When you are ready to complete your magical journey and return, be sure to follow your footsteps and travel back the way you entered. Upon your return to where you are seated, take a few minutes to record and write down your visions and discoveries. You will want to remember everything. Wow.
That's all. It's all goes back to the law of attraction and manifestation, visualization. That's incredible.
Isn't that amazing?
It's all on theme.
Definitely going to try that. I've been experimenting with visualization. I mean, that's beautiful. And Three of Pentacles, you said those two people were looking up at the work that they were looking up and seeing his vision
and watching
the
person working,
watching it, right? So this is like a total download. I love it. I love it.
It's all on theme.
This is beautiful for all of us. I'm going to watch this again later, and I'm sure it's going to hit real different.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a beautiful ritual to go out on a high note. And so you can follow Cieldi on Cieldi.intuitive on Instagram. And I hope that you will be back again to read with me.
Absolutely. Whenever you invite me, I'll be back.
This is great. This is great. Maybe I can convince you to come on and have your own reading night. Oh, that'd be nice.
Maybe I will do that.
This is a collective channel. This is for all things high vibe. So I'll definitely be talking with you about that. But this is so much fun. Next week, I'm going to have on Tuesday, I'm interviewing a gentleman named Roger, who I met in Sedona. He gave me an awesome reading, and he's going to be on my Tuesday interview. And then he's going to read cards with me on next Wednesday on In the Cards as well. So
Awesome.
I can't wait to see what decks he brings. And like I said, he used tarot in his reading with me as well. So it was really exciting. So I hope to have him, and there's a couple deck creators that I've been trying to track down from the decks that I purchased when I was in Sedona. So I'm hoping to have them as well. It's all things cards within the cards with the Viberarian. I hope that you will make this a regular part of your week. Thank you to all the new people who showed up, and Cieldi, I just had a blast.
Yeah, this has been really, really fun. And the interview you're doing next week sounds really awesome too. So I will be tuning into that as well. Sounds really cool.
And don't forget, you can catch Cieldi if you're in the Atlanta area at Gloria Parker's Big Blue Barn at the Big Psychic Fair. It's going to happen the second week in July instead of the first weekend of the month because of July 4th. But you can normally catch her first weekend of the month any other time of the year. So Cieldi, thank you so much. I appreciate you. And
thank you, Joelle. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. Thank you, y'all, for joining. We'll see you next week on In the Cards.